Hi Charles, thank you for your video update, and first of all, again, massive thank you for coming on the weekend. It was awesome to see you and just have a chat, and yeah, just good to hang out, and I'm glad you enjoyed your time and you weren't sick for the weekend, and yeah, I mean, I can't appreciate what you did enough. And in fact, if you can give me your a postal address, I know I got one off you previously, but I think it was your parents or work. Yeah, give me a postal address. I just want to say a small thank you, nothing crazy, don't get too excited. And by the way, I need to get one of these lights where the circles in your eyes. I love those lights. I have this light. I'll just show you because you might be interested. My parents got me this for Christmas. This light's fine. That's like actually like this kind of circle type of light, and it changes colors. So I could actually do my client updates, do it with a bit of blue. Although now the blue's completely gone. So yeah, it was a bit of a gimmicky light. It's actually it's going to be a nice light, but it's pretty pointless for me. Anyway, in terms of your updates, if you do find yourself rambling and it goes on a bit longer, it depends how long it goes for. And I really kind of thank you for respecting my time and everything, but don't worry too much. I mean, it's just a video, it's just a few minutes extra. I can pinpoint the bits that I need. I have some clients who are with their updates, they get everything in a short period of time. Other people very much have to think through everything, and I'm like, okay, you haven't said anything of relevance for a couple of minutes. Let's hope something comes out. And then they say something and I'm like, okay, note that down. So it's fine. Yeah, I don't worry about having to shorten it particularly. But yeah, overall, really happy that you had a great weekend. Fantastic to see you. So, and thank you for the video, by the way. The turnaround you did on that is insane. First of all, the fact it's already ready. I don't think if we paid someone, it would have been ready in time. And I mean, it's really good quality. Like, you have skills, seriously. And the sound and everything is really good. I know how windy it was up there. And I know how noisy it was in that room. So everything you've got, the setup, is really good. So fantastic job. And I've sent it over to Pascal. He might be, I'm overwhelmed. I think it's amazing. He's obviously a bit more expert in that area, but I'm sure he'll think it's amazing as well. So thank you very much. I think Pascal said that we're just going to send that out immediately. So thank you. So in terms of being sick for a few days with the diarrhea, it's not nice, and it's really unfortunate that you suffered it. Hopefully that means, well, as we know, when you remove a food, you reduce the ability to be able to digest that food. You reduce the amount of enzymes the body doesn't need to produce them to digest it and make sure it's all kind of, yeah, doing as it should. So this is why it becomes a problem when people become like no carb. Actually, interesting story. My one of my best friend's sisters went on holiday somewhere. It was like traveling for a long period of time, and there was no dairy, and she came back lactose intolerant, which sucks because she absolutely loves dairy. But it just goes to show that, like, if you don't use it, you lose it in many respects. So hopefully you're starting to use it again, and you'll get that ability back. So yeah, I'm not surprised you may have felt more fatigued than you should have. And then obviously coming over for the seminar, traveling, not superior sleep during an Airbnb doesn't surprise me. You probably read, or you may be familiar with the work of Matt Walker, Why Do We Sleep, or Why We Sleep. And basically, like, half the brain is active when you're sleeping in a new environment, because the brain's like on alert to protect you from intruders. So whenever you sleep in a new environment, the sleep generally is never as good. That's the general rule of thumb. Not everyone's the same. I actually felt like I slept all right there, but you never really fully know. So obviously you said feeling more fatigued than you really normally should, which makes sense. I think you're off to Miami very soon, which is insane and amazing. I looked at the planner, it's there. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but amazing. That's super exciting. And in fact, I meant to ask on the weekend what your job is. I actually don't know what you do for a living. I'm pretty sure you do some coaching, because I've seen you doing coaching with people online, but I wasn't sure what your full-time job was. And obviously you're on your holidays from that at the moment. So yeah, just let me know about that. I'm just interested, or feel free not to let me know, or if it doesn't impact your job and things. You said kind of, is there anything you should prepare for Miami? Anything you need to do? Worried about kind of the jet lag? So the only strategy I know for helping with jet lag is trying to get back like into a rhythm for that period of time. If you're only in Miami for a week, I mean, it depends how long you're there, but it's difficult because you'll be putting yourself into a pattern for Miami and then coming back out of that pattern for coming home. So it's going to be difficult regardless, I guess. But yes, melatonin is certainly one strategy you can take. Less is more generally. I forget what the lowest dose recommended, but it's like, I think it's like 300 milligrams or something along those lines. Like, don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly. I think Ian McCarthy has recently published something in examine.com. They haven't, I don't think they've updated their dosage recommendations, but you can get away with like a really low amount. And yeah, just taking that like an hour or so before the time you want to be sleeping is a great idea. And then also getting sunlight. So if it's daytime when you arrive, you're tired, go out, get some sunlight. That will help, because obviously when you're getting the sunlight, that will kind of help waking you up. You're getting good light rhythms in that regard. So they're the only real recommendations. And I just try not to stress about it too much. It's holiday, go and enjoy yourself. I know you said this year is like bodybuilding for you, but it's Miami. It's an amazing place. Go and enjoy the hell out of yourself, because you deserve to. So in terms of nutrition whilst you're out there, I certainly don't expect you to track meticulously. Hitting protein and calories is a fantastic middle ground where you're still kind of achieving what you want to be achieving whilst having a ton of flexibility. So I think that's definitely the way to go. Obviously, you'll be a little bit more active. So if you end up guesstimating some foods and being a bit under, I'm not so concerned. I don't think you should be necessarily that concerned. You're going to be on your feet all the time, way more active than you usually are. So I think that will kind of counterbalance the estimating and then wanting to probably eat more anyway, and being more active will allow you to have a little bit more. And also, you've kind of been in a deficit for a couple of days a while ago. And like you said, you asked about should you make up for it. I don't think really that's the way to go. I think it can be quite painful to try and manage nutrition or calorie balance on a day-to-day level, to the point at which it just causes stress and you just get concerned you haven't done it right. So I would just get back to your diet. You screw up one day, you get back to your usual diet. I think that's absolutely the way we should go. And it's not, you didn't screw up. You did your best with what you had. So absolutely fine. Question 1, that was covered. And then, can we extend the mesocycle so your week in Miami is easier? And then deload whilst you're not on holiday. I think we possibly can. I want to auto-regulate it though. So in your time in Miami, I would seek to not necessarily train to 1 rep in reserve, but just seek a minimal progression on the week prior and see how you feel when you come back. I'm not going to increase the number of sets at the moment, because basically my concern is we're in a position where you're feeling fatigued already because you had the kind of diarrhea, you've been traveling a lot, you're going to have the jet lag, you're not going to be able to prioritize training as much whilst you're in Miami. So there's an element of fatigue there and an element of potentially fatigue reduction whilst you're in Miami, less stress, more sleep, and not pushing training as hard. So I would just go into the week in Miami. We won't push training volume via sets up. Seek out minimal progressions. We'll come back, see where we are. And I just, don't necessarily have to push to the 1 rep in reserve. You can hold a little bit back and take, like I said, minimal progressive overload. You don't need to go overboard. I've been kind of doing that with my mesocycles, where I have minimum effective volume, and then each week I seek kind of minimal progression to the next week. And this has allowed me to go from 4 weeks of accumulation to 5 weeks. Now, is it better? I don't actually know, but I like to be able to do the 5 weeks because everyone likes training that little bit longer. So this is just something I've done. So I think, I'll be interested. I don't want to guarantee that we can. The only way I'd say we can guarantee it, we may have to drop in some light sessions, so give you like a semi-deload to extend the mesocycle a little bit longer. But I'm just concerned about all the fatigue factors that have been building up. So it's actually really good to hear that you're actually annoyed about your scale weight being down. That's a good indication that you're on the side of I want to gain, which is really, really great. You weren't kind of taking any sort of pleasure in the scale being down. That's awesome. The same thing happened to me over the weekend. I think I ate maybe just a few hundred calories less than I normally would, not much less. I came back and I was 4 pounds lighter. And then yesterday I was still think 2 pounds lighter. And today I've just about come up to a respectable weight where my body's now back. And this is just changes in diet, sodium, all these things. But again, like you, I was like, no, I don't want to, how am I down 4 pounds? This isn't good because we want to gain. So I think that's cool. So I think I covered all your questions, Charles. Finally, again, massive thank you for this weekend. If you can drop me your postal address, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, have a great time in Miami. I guess you'll drop me a line whilst you're out there. And if you have any other questions, concerns, need anything else, let me know. Take care, mate.